Welcome everybody to our YouTube channel, Wheeler's World. My name is Tina and I'm here with my friend Christina.
Hello.
And we're here to talk to you about disability and living with disability in the state of Rhode Island. So Christina, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your disability?
Sure, so thank you for having me today. Again, like Tina said, my name is Christina and I've always lived here in Rhode Island. And I was born with a physical disability known as arthrogryposis multiplex congenita. And only 1 in 3,000 people are actually affected with this disability, and I happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Woohoo!
And I think in Rhode Island there's only a few others that are born with this disability as well. So what that basically does is my arms are in a fixed position. I cannot move my fingers, my hands. I have complete sensation throughout my whole body, and it does affect my lower extremities as well. I have a hard time climbing stairs. So when I go to a restaurant, I always look for the most accessible entrance. And this pretty much body has been the only body I've known. So having this disability is actually really a blessing to me.
Oh, nice. And unlike Christina, I literally walked into a surgery about 4 years ago, took a stroke to my spinal cord, and never walked again. So where she lived with disability her entire life, I've only been in the disability world for almost 5 years now. So there's a difference because I have the outlook of going from a fully able-bodied person to half my body not working to compared to Christina, who basically this is the only body that she knows and what it's like, you know, living with a disability. So let's talk about disability out in the community and in the public eye. What are some of your pet peeves or things that bother you when you go out?
That's a great question. So one of the things that always bothers me is going to restaurants where they have, it looks like an accessible entrance, and you go up the ramp and it's great, and then when you get to the front door there's a step. That drives me insane, and that's actually happened to me before. And they always say they're accessible, the restaurants, but you have to go to the back of the building.
Yeah. Oh, I love it when you call ahead and they say, oh, we're accessible, there's just one step. Well, for somebody like me, one step is asking me to walk through a wall because I can't take one step.
Right.
So I can't make it into that restaurant. Some people can, but you're also not lifting my 350-pound wheelchair up that one step. So, and not all people, I just found this out, I didn't know if you knew about this, but not all people can use a ramp. Did you know that?
I actually didn't.
No, people who have prosthetic limbs, especially legs, their limbs cannot bend to walk on a ramp because of the incline. It actually tips them backwards and their knees don't bend in that direction. So it's actually, so an accessible entrance means steps and a ramp. So that way it's accessible to everybody.
Right. Makes sense though.
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you think about it, but we're not just saying that we want it to be accessible for wheelchair users. We want them to be accessible for everybody.
Exactly.
So let's talk about some of your pet peeves that you have or things that bother you when you're out in the public eye.
So a lot of times people, I don't know if this happens to you, but a lot of times people will look at me, and that's a natural thing to do, is look at people. You know, we're all curious. But one of the things that I love to bring up during my motivational speaking engagements is that, see, if I'm at a store and I'm shopping like anybody else, and I'm looking at different products, and you know, you can always kind of tell when somebody's looking at you. So I'll look at the person, I'll look back at them, and then I look away, and then if I notice they're looking at me again, I look at them again, smile. But the third time, if I look at you and I notice you're still looking at me, I'm gonna say, hi, how are you? And that just basically means that I'm aware that you're looking at me. You probably have questions, and that's okay, but I really am an open book, and I appreciate questions and comments. And
well, I mean, I find it myself. I mean, you go out in the public and there's a nice looking guy who keeps himself well in shape, or a really pretty girl who able-bodied, whatever. The curious mind of, you know, the normal person is to look. But I find that we get different kinds of looks. Do you find that too? Or the people that will come up to you and say, oh, I'm sorry you're in a wheelchair. Don't be sorry for me because I'm in a wheelchair. This is how I am in a wheelchair, and don't feel sorry for me. Feel glad that I'm up and out and about. But let's not mistake that for I'm something special because I got up today and I know my own name and I can get myself dressed and I can get out.
Special.
Well, we're all special,
Exactly.
but I'm not special just because I'm in a wheelchair and I can go out and about in public, because we all want to go out and about in public. My problem is people look at us, or either they feel sorry or they want us to be blessed, or I hope you're cured. we're not going to be cured.
Well, how about this? Have you ever heard, more so when I was younger, not as an older adult, but I always used to hear, because I do look a little younger for my age. So
a little. She looks about 12, doesn't she?
Oh, I wish. Thank you. But sometimes I'll hear, oh, the poor thing. Well,
right.
Why? I mean, I have this disability, yes, but it's not a bad thing.
No, disability, the biggest misconception I believe out there is being disabled is a bad thing.
Right.
Like, I hate the term, she's wheelchair bound. If I was actually wheelchair bound, I would be actually chained down to my wheelchair and not being able to do anything.
You just happen to be a person that
Right.
utilizes
I'm
a wheelchair.
a person in a wheelchair. My wheelchair actually gives me wings. My wheelchair is my freedom in my legs. Without my wheelchair, I couldn't get out and about around town and go and do my errands. Or I hate it when someone says to me, oh, you're by yourself? Well, how many people don't want to run away from their husbands and their kids and, and go and do their errands by themselves and have a few minutes or an hour to themselves to think? We want to do the same things. We're the same people. I utilize my body to the best of my ability and what I can do. I can do everything everybody else does, especially with the right accessibility. And I bet you find the same thing. If things are accessible to you, you can pretty much do what everybody else does.
Right. I mean, what might be okay for you and accessible for you may be different for me, and just like every other person that has a different disability. But for me, accessibility means having a personal care assistant with me, or good friends, or my husband, or whoever it may be. I feel that, the word accessibility means different things to different people. So for me, like, I have a ramp to get into my home, which was great for you today when you came over. I mean, I was so excited.
Right, because I'm actually right now in Christina's home, which we were a little worried that we weren't going to be able to manage because she's got a tiny little home, and it's beautiful, but I was able to get in, and it's nice to have a friend that I can go over and visit because her house is handicap accessible for me.
Yay, go us.
Woohoo! Go us.
But it's true, getting out in the community, and sometimes, being in the community just doesn't mean, going out with friends. Being in the community means being involved in church, going to your friend's house, working, being employed. I mean, there's so many things that people with different disabilities want to do, just like quote-unquote able-bodied people.
Right. I mean, one of the biggest things to me is the handicap parking. People who park in the handicap spots that shouldn't be, or they're blocking the hash lines that are made for, like somebody like me, my van, for my ramp to come out, so there's enough room for my wheelchair to exit the vehicle and turn around and whatever. And people will look at it like we want special. I don't want special ability, but if you want to take my pocket spot, you can also take my disability with you. We don't want those kind of things, but that's our only way of getting around and getting to and from places. We want to mix in, and we don't want to stand out. We don't want to be different. We want to go about our day like everybody else. I want to be able to throw my hair up in a ponytail, throw a pair of sweats on, and go run to the Cumberland Farms and pick up a loaf of bread because I forgot, just like everybody else. I don't want to be singled out. I don't want special treatment. I don't want special attention. Right. I just want to be able to go out.
You just want to be Tina.
Right, and that's it. I just want to get up, do for my family, do what I have to do, go out in the community, come home, and do what I got to do. But we're nothing special because we're disabled. We're special because we work hard, we make a difference, we get out in the community, we work, we, get up every day like everybody else. That doesn't make somebody special.
And what if I can add to that too, is that what also makes people special is what comes from within their heart and personalities. Right. We keep talking a lot about different disabilities, physical disabilities, but sometimes I think it's really important too to mention that there's disabilities that are not visible. And I think we really need to represent everybody. So I know that we've talked about moving forward with Miss Wheelchair Organization, but we're going to include other people that utilize wheelchairs, but we're going to have so many more things to come.
We want to encompass all disabilities.
Exactly.
The blind, the mentally disabled, the delayed, everything, because everybody should be included in everything. I mean, what's the first thing that you think about, honestly, when you get an invitation in the mail? For the most part, like, if you were absolutely nothing wrong with you ever, what would be the first thoughts are? Oh, great, I'm invited. Is the date free? Can I go?
Well, sometimes it'd be like, what am I going to wear?
Oh, yeah, well, what are you going to wear too? But for somebody like me,
yes.
Can I get in?
Right.
Can I go to the bathroom? Can I reach the tables? Can I maneuver my wheelchair around the tables? There's so much more that goes into it, and we can't get excited because most of the time, unfortunately, I have to turn them down because I can't get in. Or she has a ramp on her house, but none of my family does. A lot of my friends do. So when they have house parties or holidays at people's homes, I have to sit home alone and miss out again because they're not accessible. Is that fair?
No, unfortunately it's not.
But I mean, it's real world, and there's so many children who are disabled in all areas and levels. That shouldn't everything be accessible for them now?
I think moving forward, I think the world should be universal, if that makes sense. So
that makes a lot of sense.
You know, I have a walk-in shower, for example. I mean, it makes it so much easier for me to get in the shower where somebody doesn't have to physically lift me in over the tub. We have aging parents, grandparents. Thinking about that in the future, I mean, wouldn't that be great to move into a home that already had a walk-in shower or a roll-in shower?
Correct.
How fantastic would that be?
And I mean, the other thing is you could end up like somebody like me. I was able-bodied, cheer coach, dancer, walked my dogs, walked 5 miles every day, to, in 45 minutes, losing the use of half of my body and becoming in a wheelchair, missing out on everything. I spent 1.5 years trapped in my home because I couldn't get a ramp for my house so I could come and go as I pleased. I always needed to have somebody with me, and that's not independence, and that's not a life, and that's not living.
But speaking of that, so I think when we have our next competition or, all the different events that we would like to be at, we can talk about the different areas of support we have in Rhode Island and the different resources. There's so many out there, especially in the state of Rhode Island.
Well, see, we don't even have to wait 1 year for that because we're going to promote them all right here on our YouTube channel.
I guess you guys are going to have to stay tuned.
Yeah, so you guys are going to definitely have to stay tuned because we're going to promote all of that right here on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned and be watching for that.
Absolutely.
But just think about it. How about if we challenge everybody today? Does that sound fair?
I'm up for it.
Let's challenge everybody. It's Friday. We're going to be posting this video on a Friday. So go out, and everywhere that you go this weekend, see.
Well, that might be hard because it's going to snow.
Well, even better. It's going to snow. So not only do we have the accessibility factor, is there too much snow piled in the handicap parking spots? Because we know when they plow, where do they put the snow? But the handicap spots, unfortunately. So in your travels for the next week, we'll make it for the next week. For the next week, look at every place that you go and jot down every place that you find that doesn't have stairs and a ramp. Now, every place has to have an exit and an entrance. They always have to have 2 in case of emergency. Well, how come they only have to have 1 handicap spot or 1 handicap entrance? And do we not find that a lot of handicap entrances are through the kitchen? Well, if there's a fire in a place, where do you think the fire is going to start?
More than likely the kitchen.
More likely the kitchen. So in other words, if a fire starts in the kitchen and I'm in the building, guess who's not getting out of the building? So I'll be fried with the barbecue chicken.
Don't say that.
No, but I mean, seriously,
Right.
If there has to be 2 exits for a normal able-bodied person, why aren't there 2 exits or entrances for the disabled? So that we can get in and out. I mean, a regular bodied person could go out through a window, could go out through any place.
Right.
We have 1 way in, 1 way out. We're trapped when there's a disability.
So I do like your challenge. I think everybody that's out and about this weekend, if it snows, like Tina said, check the handicap spots, see if you can actually park there, or somebody that you're with that has a disability and needs that parking spot, or just looking around you. You'd be surprised at people that park there that really
Do you get the same thing as, oh, everything should be accessible because the ADA is in place? Do you get that a lot when you go out?
No, not too much, but I feel that a lot of people don't know what ADA means,
Right.
believe it or not.
Well, why don't you tell us?
I think you should tell them.
No, you can train us.
I mean...
ADA is a compliant. It's been around for 28 years now, and they're supposed to have accommodations for all places. All public places are supposed to be accessible to the majority of people, and that's wheelchair accessible, ramps, and everything like that. But nobody holds these businesses accountable. We've had some businesses open recently in the state of Rhode Island that are nowhere near ADA compliant. Why are we giving licenses to businesses to open up that are nowhere near ADA compliant?
And just for clarification, ADA means Americans with Disabilities Act.
Correct. I'm sorry, I forgot that. That's why Christina's here to keep me on track.
Somebody's gotta
But
keep her on
I mean, the
toes.
thing is, you know, the ADA has been around for 20 years, but if nobody holds them accountable, do you think they're gonna do it?
What about, you just brought a thought to my head, is like, what happens when you get in the elevator? Now, for me, like I said, my disability makes it so it's hard for me to use my arms. I can't raise my arms. So when I get in the elevator, you'd be surprised where the buttons are placed on the elevator.
Yeah.
I'd have to use it sometimes my nose, as disgusting as it
Ew.
is. Yeah, germ city.
Yeah,
most
not
of
a
the
good thing.
No. Most of the time I am with somebody. I'm very lucky in that capacity. But what about those that can't reach the buttons for whatever reason?
Or have to be by themselves. Fortunately, being in a wheelchair, we're close enough to the buttons. If the elevator isn't full enough where we can actually get in and get out of the elevator and near the buttons, but then again, you could always ask somebody. But think about it if you're in a hotel. What are the first things when there's an emergency that go out? Are the elevators. Mm-hmm. So while everybody is rushing out of the building and down the stairs, us in wheelchairs are sitting there hoping somebody comes and finds us. Or somebody like Christina, who's not in a wheelchair but can't do stairs. Right. So she, again, is sitting there waiting. And it's not like I said, I got a little weight to myself. We're not going to give away my weight because I am a lady. Mm-hmm. But my chair itself is 350 pounds. So they're not saving me in my wheelchair or lifting me over that one step into a place with my 350-pound chair.
And I think we should make it clear, too, to everybody that's watching, is that we don't have the answers. It's just something that, you know, that we like to bring to people's attention, that, you know, if we could all work together, because it could affect you, a loved one, it affects us and our families. Mm-hmm. If we could all think about how the world would be so different if things were just so much more universal. It
would be a great world if seeing somebody with disability was the norm and it wasn't a big honor. Oh my God, she's out in her wheelchair. Let's give her a medal. That's not what we want. We want to blend in. We want to go out. We're nothing special. We just want to be like everybody else with the proper accessibility we can be. So here's your challenge. Check out your surroundings. Be aware of what goes on around you. Check your parking spots. Check the hashtag marks. Check the businesses that you go in. Is there a curb cutout to get up into the place? Is there a door that can open? Can a wheelchair fit through? The bathroom's handicap accessible. I mean, Christina has a thought.
Yes, I do. How about the push buttons? Do the push buttons work? When you push the button, does it actually open the door?
Right. So here's your challenge for 1 week. See what we're talking about. See that we want to be like everybody else. And come back and comment on this video and tell us what you found. Maybe there are some places that we don't even know about that are fully accessible that we can go and utilize, or maybe there's some places that we can make some minor tweaks and talk to the business owners. Because I found if you present to a business owner positive, real world ways of minor changes that they can make, they actually do it. If you go in stern and yelling and, you know, causing a big scene, they're not going to do anything. But if you go in and you talk to them and you show them and you explain to them, because they're not a disabled or a wheelchair user, they don't realize it. But we can open their eyes. So help us open everybody's eyes.
So can I put another challenge out there?
Absolutely.
Well, maybe not so much a challenge, but so this is my first time doing a YouTube video.
Okay.
So I like to give a shout out to all my family and friends that are hopefully going to watch this, and to Tina's family and friends and just all our supporters. But if they could maybe comment and tell us how they thought we did, if you guys like this, what they want to see coming next in the next video, and just give a shout out and let us know who you are.
Yes, definitely tell us. I mean, if there's something that we can show you, how we eat, how we get around, how we transfer. If you have any questions, we're open books. And we want to share so that way if any one of your family members or friends happen to end up in this predicament, like I just happened to end up in this predicament, we can help you and we can give you services and we can tell you places where you can go to get support. But we can also tell you how to help them and how to, maybe you own a small business and would like to hear more about how to become accessibility. Hit us up, talk to us, message us. We will be more than happy to come out and talk to you and give you some promo. If you're a business that is fully accessible invite us down. We will love to do a YouTube video of how accessible it is. We just got to go out to eat last week for our first meeting of our organization. 17 people with 7 people in power chairs. How empowering was that to see that out and about? All just laughing, having fun, eating dinner, and that's what it's all about.
But you know what? Even better than that, the staff treated us like we were just regular people. We were just out having dinner, and like our waitress was awesome. The people in the restaurant, the customers, they didn't look at us and think we were weird. We were just regular people going out to dinner.
Yep, and they didn't think anything. I think they saw beyond all of our disabilities and were just comfortable with being with us, and that made us feel special. That made us feel included, and isn't that what it's all about? Everybody, able-bodied, disability, everybody wants to be included. So just include somebody.
You can give a hug, maybe.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you. Stay tuned.